तो वेलकम टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल गाइस। आज हम जा रहे हैं, कहाँ पे जा रहे हैं भाई? पार्लियामेंट हाउस। कौन सा पार्लियामेंट हाउस? मेलबर्न विक्टोरिया पार्लियामेंट हाउस। तो आज विज़िट होने वाला है मेलबर्न पार्लियामेंट हाउस का। तो ये है हमारा मेलबर्न। हमारी क्वीन एलिज़ाबेथ बैठी थी इस चेयर पे। हेलो गाइस, वेलकम टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल। तो आज आपको दिखाएंगे पार्लियामेंट मेलबर्न का, मेलबर्न विक्टोरिया का सबसे जो पुराना पार्लियामेंट है, ओल्डेस्ट पार्लियामेंट इन द ऑस्ट्रेलिया। तो इसका ये आपको टूर कराएंगे आज। तो अभी चलते हैं अंदर, तो आपको दिखाते हैं सब कुछ। ऑल गुड। सो पार्लियामेंट हाउस फ्रॉम इनसाइड। तो ये बिल्डिंग का जो सबसे फ्रंट वाला हाउस है, लाइक उनके जहाँ पे प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस और सारा कुछ होता है। तो ये मेन हाउस है, लाइक बिल्डिंग के अंदर का फर्स्ट हॉल है जो मेन है, ठीक है। तो इस बिल्डिंग में लाइक दो जो रूम हैं, असेंबली हॉल जो है दो हैं, एक लोअर हाउस एक अपर हाउस। जो लोअर हाउस है वो ग्रीन कलर का है, जो अपर हाउस है वो है जी रेड कलर का। तो इस बिल्डिंग में सबसे ज़्यादा ये दो जो रूम होंगे वो अहम होंगे। अभी जाते हैं अंदर। तो ये है जी ग्रीन हाउस, ठीक है। तो जो लोअर हाउस है ग्रीन कलर का ये सारा, एक ऊपर होगा जो रेड कलर का होगा। तो अभी इसके बारे में सारी में बात लेते हैं।
Sometimes people even just call it the green room as well because everything in here is green. Like I said, we color code everything here. My name tag is green, so it means I work for the legislative assembly here. If I worked for the upper house, I'd be wearing a red jacket. So we're very still kind of two separate entities, I guess. Throughout this building, you really won't see anything that's uniquely Australian or First Nations. So the actual architecture itself, the pillars, that's all Roman architecture in terms of a lot of the flowers that you will see, and you can see that we've got some angels on the ceiling as well. Very British in terms of the architecture. Even the pattern on the floor is an oak leaf pattern, which we know is not an Australian plant. So very, very European building.
Okay.
I'll talk a little bit about how the layout of this room. So as you can see, there's lots of microphones and cameras around. So everything that happens in here is recorded, live streamed online, and then transcribed and written down afterwards. So this is an example of what that transcription looks like. This is just from one day, from Tuesday the 20th of September. So everything anyone said in Parliament that day is written down in here. So I can actually look up who said what. So I can look up that, Ms. Blandthorne, who is the minister for, sorry, not the minister, she's leader of the House and she's the member for Pascoe Vale. I can see what she said on Parliament on that day. So that's all published online as well. We also publish it into books, and we keep a full record of that here. And we keep that information forever. Everything that happens in here is publicly available. So the idea is that as the public, we want you to know what's happening in here. Because that means that you can be informed, but it also means that you can scrutinise as well. You can see the gallery up behind us there. That is actually a public gallery. So that means that you can come and watch Parliament as well if you would like. So we're here sitting, you can be here watching. So you can't participate, but you can sit and you can watch. So if they're here at 2 o'clock in the morning, you can be here at 2 o'clock in the morning. Although you'd probably be better off going to sleep, to be honest. We also have a media gallery up behind me as well. So members of the media can come, sit, watch and write notes for their news articles and things like that as well. We also get camera crews in up in this top corner up here. So if you've ever seen footage of Daniel Andrews being like, do a bit of this is where he sits, and that's the view that you get from up there. Now, To get a seat in the media gallery, you do actually need to be a member of the press. So working for a news company, whether that be a newspaper or the television or the radio. In terms of the amount of members that we have here, we have 88 members. So they represent 88 districts across Victoria. Each district has around 70,000 people living in it. So the person who sits up in the top seat here is called the Speaker. So they're really kind of one of the most important people in the room. They really hold the power in here because whatever they say goes. So if you're being too rowdy, out. So the Speaker has the power to do that. So if someone's being too noisy or not listening, they could be asked to stop, but if they keep going, they can be removed from the chamber. They just make sure that everything's kept orderly, because you can imagine if you've got 88 people in here and they've all got different ideas, it's going to get pretty, noisy pretty quickly, right? So the Speaker keeps order. The government, whoever won the most seats in the last election, will always sit to the right-hand side of the Speaker. So, congratulations, you are the government. We do have an election coming up in November, so you are the opposition, so we might see a change of government, so you might have a bit of a change of luck, you don't know.
We are government.
And because you're in the front row, over here you are ministers, over here you are shadow ministers. So you're earning the most amount of money in your parties. So that means that you've got a responsibility for different things. Actually, do you want to know what ministers you are? Mm-hmm. Excellent. So you always sit opposite your person, okay? So you are the Minister for Ports and Freight. You are the Minister for Energy, Environment and Climate Change. So very important.
Good position.
You are the Minister for Corrections, so that means you're the Shadow Minister for Corrections.
Oh yeah.
You're the Minister for Education, so you're the Shadow Minister.
Education Minister.
You're the Minister for Regulatory Reform, so you're the Shadow Minister for Regulatory Reform. You are the Treasurer, so that's a very important position, so you're the Shadow Treasurer. You are the Minister for Industry Support and Recovery, so you're the Shadow Minister for Industry Support and Recovery. Minister for Police. Shadow Minister for Police. Well, this one comes up in the news a lot lately. Minister for Health. Shadow Minister for Health.
Check this
The
one.
Premier sits here. So, this table here, the Premier will sit here. Current Premier is Daniel Andrews. His Deputy Premier will sit here. Our current Deputy Premier is Jacinta, female Deputy Premier. So for me, I think that makes me quite sad that it's 2022 and we've only had our second female Deputy Premier now. But I want you to listen to the names that I'm saying. So Daniel Andrews, Jacinta Allen. The Leader of the House is Lizzie Blandthorne. And then their opposites sit opposite them. So the Leader of the Opposition, Matthew Guy, will sit here. He's also the Leader of the Liberal Party as well. The Deputy Leader of the Opposition is Peter Walsh. He's also the Leader of the Nationals. And the reason why you've got the two parties together is because they form a coalition here. And then the person who's Manager of Opposition Business is Louise Staley. She sits here. Can anyone tell me how many women's names I just said then? Three? Three. It's the first time
Parliament speakers
here.
here.
We've had a 50-50 split of men and women at our executive table here. So pretty kind of important moment, I think, for who sits. And that's because these people that sit here in these seats are actually not members. So to be a member of Parliament in Victoria, all you need to be is an Australian citizen, you need to be an adult, and you need to be voted for by the people. You don't need to finish school, you don't need a law degree, you don't even need to be a member of a party or anything like that. You just need the votes for the people, of the people. So do you think when people win the election and they walk into here, do you think they know how this place works? No, we've got lots of complicated rules, lots of old-fashioned traditions. So you can imagine walking in on your first day and it's just like starting any other job. You don't always know what you're doing, but these people do. So these people are the experts of how Parliament works. So they are called clerks. So like I said, they're not members, they're public servants, they're people that work for the Parliament building itself. And they're here to help the Speaker, but also help all of our members as well. So if you wanted to introduce a bill into Parliament, you'd come talk to these people and they'd tell you how to do it. You know, if you wanted to move a motion, you'd come to talk to these people and they'd tell you how to do it. So they really help inform and advise all of our members on how to make the best of this place. Because if you don't say the right thing, or if you try to do something in the wrong way, it fails. And that's just, you know, there's no point in doing something like that if it's going to fail. So you want to make sure you do things the right way every time. And these people help you with that. You can see this very happy, smiling gentleman here on this poster. Thank you. So he is my boss. He's my boss's boss. His position is called the Sergeant at Arms. So he's kind of like one of the clerks. Can you see that big, beautiful gold stick that he's holding?
Yeah.
That is called a mace.
Mace.
So his traditional job actually would have been to be like a personal policeman for the Speaker. So that mace gives him the power of arrest. And so if, for example, you know, we're talking when original Parliament was on, we had like knights in shining armour. So people had swords and weapons on them. So if someone was misbehaving, maybe a sword gets drawn, he's the one that arrests that person. Now, I've been told that he still actually has the power of arrest on Parliament precinct. Not outside of it, but in this room he has power of arrest still, although he doesn't need to use it. And that mace, back in the day, used to be a weapon. So you can imagine if the crown was smaller, this end was bigger, and had spikes coming out of it, that's what it would have looked like. So now it's just ceremonial. So that mace goes on the brackets at the end of the table, which you can see there. And that mace has to be on the end of the table. If it's not on the end of the table, it's not Parliament, it doesn't count, it's null and void. So it's really important, that's like a really important piece of equipment, I guess you could call it, that we have in the building here. It's about 1.5 metres long, so it's quite long. It weighs about 8 kilos and it's solid silver plated gold. So it's a pretty impressive piece of equipment, I think. Yeah.
मीटर की पावर है, बट बैठ नहीं सकते बस।
कैसे पावर के जैसे बैठ नहीं सकते।
बस भाई क्या करें। अच्छा तो ये है जी हमारे पार्लियामेंट क्या है जी ये स्पीकर साहब। यहाँ पे बैठते हैं जी स्पीकर साहब, और यहाँ पे इस तरफ बैठती है गवर्नमेंट, इस तरफ बैठती है जी अपोजिशन। यहाँ पे बैठते हैं क्लर्क्स, और ये है जी कानून और पार्लियामेंट। किताबें सारी जो बुक्स हैं वो ये हैं। तो कुछ ऐसी नज़र आती है ये यहाँ से। असेंबली हॉल ऑफ ऑस्ट्रेलिया मेलबर्न। सबसे ओल्ड जो पार्लियामेंट हाउस है वो ये है जी, जो आप देख रहे हैं इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया। तो यहाँ से अभी हम जा रहे हैं जी लाइब्रेरी में। तो लाइब्रेरी देखेंगे अभी इसके बाद। नाइस सूट, वाह। तो ये panorama walls अभी यहाँ पे हैं।
Our library. Now we finished our library in 1861. This was the second part of our building that we completed. And as you can see, you probably understand why it's one of my favourite places in the building. Obviously, it's beautiful. We do have quite a wide selection of books here, around 50,000 books. We used to have more, but now that so much is online, you don't necessarily need to have physical books anymore. It's not a public library, unfortunately, so you can't come here to borrow books. It's for the members, their staff, as well as staff. They also do a lot in terms So the mace above the door here, this is actually our first ever parliamentary mace here. It's wood painted gold, so it looks nice.